Good evening, everyone. A very, very warm welcome to you on Tuesday, I've got to look this up, 24th, Tuesday, 24th of May. It's lovely to have you on this webinar call tonight. We always love having the opportunity to share the incredible knowledge that we have with our leadership team at Medea, and to actually be able to help people understand the power of our incredible products and, of course, the absolute purity of our ingredients. Tonight it's our great pleasure to introduce you to a magical lady in Rita Smith. Rita is a trained aromatherapist, so this lady knows her oils. And there's a bit of a cliche, she knows her oils. It's so true. Rita's going to share with us for the next 30 minutes the power of aromatherapies, the properties and the benefits of essential oils, but then how to actually look at it as a complexity, or as a whole, I should say, with Medea, and how to break down our phenomenal blends that we have with Medea. So without any more rambling from me, Annie Starky, I'm going to introduce you to Director, Social Marketer Leader, Rita Sweet. Are you there, Rita?
Hi Annie, yes I'm here, thank you very much. Well, it's my pleasure tonight to share this with you, because essential oils are one of my passions, and when I first came across them I wanted to find out the best way of learning all about them. There were lots of sort of short courses, all that sort of thing, so it's back in 1994, so I've been around oils for some time now, and I searched and searched until I found a school, a aromatherapy school, which I would be happy with, and I certainly was. The training was intensive. It was about the oils, it was all about the herbs, had to go into anatomy and physiology, how the systems of the body worked, so it wasn't just the nice smells like some of them were offering at the time. So I just loved everything about it. So I'm going to get into this, and there's so much about it, but sometimes it's always good, I think, to have some basic understanding of what essential oils are, because sometimes people don't fully appreciate what they do have to offer, because they are very, very powerful. And so if we just look at first, what are essential oils? They're actually often referred to as the life force of a plant, because they are very powerful. Because they're called essential oils, some people think they're oily, but they are not necessarily oily, as the name suggests, but they are highly volatile. They can be. Some of the oils, just to give you an example, some of the oils, if you spill them onto sort of like a pen, a big pen or something like that, some can melt the plastic. So they are powerful things, so it's always good to treat them with respect. They are highly flammable and odoriferous and soluble in alcohol, though hardly in water. So a little tip, if you do want to use them in water, like in a bath or foot bath or something like that, handy little tip is to have a teaspoon of milk, put the oils into the milk, and then into the water, because on their own they're not really soluble in the water. So I'll keep going because I've got quite a few things to get in here. The therapeutic qualities, you can see from this screen here, there are many: antiseptic, antiviral, anti-inflammatory. They're stress relieving, sedative, antifungal, probiotic. They're normalizing, synergistic, uplifting, energizing, influencing the human hormonal system, detoxifying, and intelligent. What that means is that they are attracted to a problem area. So even if you have an issue or some challenge happening, and you're not sure whether you've got exactly the right oils there to use, because they are intelligent and they cover so many therapeutic areas in the body, they will go to that area. So you don't have to sort of stress over anything like that. They will go to where it's needed. So looking at a little bit where they come from, they're extracted mostly by distillation from different parts of the plant, depending on the oil. and they're usually secreted from special glands, ducts, or cells, and they are present in roots, stems, bark, leaves, or flowers. It all depends on which oil you're talking about, but there's one in particular plant, which is the orange tree. You can actually get 3 different essential oils from one tree. So we get the orange, which is from the fruit, we get neroli, which is from the blossom, and then petitgrain, which is from the leaf. So, you know, you can see there's a really good, diverse area where they, you know, are extracted from. One of the challenges out there with essential oils, and that's why it's really, really very good to purchase the ones from Modair, obviously. I'll just tell you a little story about the Modair. When I first came to Australia, I was practicing aromatherapy and looking for some oils. And before I came, I found some oils. I brought a lot with me because I wasn't sure whether I'd find them or not. But when I came across Modair and the Legacy Company, saw they had oils, and because I knew a lot about the adulteration, which is where the oil is altered in some way or other since leaving the still. And as you can imagine, you know, they get, one of the typical ones is lavender. Some are more easier to adulterate than others, but one of the things is lavender, and they can use lavandin. Now, lavandin does have its own therapeutic properties, but nothing quite the same as lavender. But because it's easier to produce, it's cheaper, it gives some people that unfortunately do the adulteration, it quadruples their profit. But when I came across the essential oils that we have, I sort of found out who supply the oils to them. And I was just blown away because the person that supplied the oils to them, John Black, was the person I used to buy essential oils from in the UK. So I knew they were absolutely, you know, absolutely fine because he is someone with high integrity. And so, yeah, their oils are beautiful. There are other ways of telling, but you need to have experience to be able to tell them with just the fragrance, with the aroma. You know, after years, you can, just by smelling, you can tell the quality of them. And I didn't get to that level. In the perfume industry and the aromatherapy, in the pure oil where they're supplied and produced, it's what is called as the nose, le nez, because they can tell purely from the nose and the smell of the oils. So if we look at this a little bit, how do they work? Well, I think everybody's aware that you can put them onto the skin, and because of all the toxicity we know about with products and Modair being safe, live clean, everybody knows a lot about the skin and how that works because they are able to go through the skin. But they have, as you know, powerful effect on both the mind and the body. But our sense of smell is contained in the olfactory organ found at the top of the nasal, and you'll see there's a little diagram here. The olfactory bulb and the olfactory tract is what separates the brain from the nasal passages. But one of the things that is fascinating, I think, is that how powerful it is. You know, I was mentioned earlier on that be respectful of them, you know, treat them with respect because they're the life force of the plant, they're very powerful. But just to give you a little bit of an idea, and you know how you can smell something and it triggers off memories and situations, that's how deeply they are evoking feelings and memories. But if we, I just want to read you this. The receptors are sensitive enough to detect a substance diluted to as much as 1 part in 30 billion. It can detect 1 part in 30 billion. So you can imagine you don't have to smother yourself with the oils. In fact, if you do use too much, you can desensitize the olfactory system. because you're bombarding it with too much. It really is not necessary to use vast quantities of essential oils. So that's why I say to people, they're the life force of the plant, and it's important to treat them with respect and honour that as well. So I just want to give you a bit of an idea with that. But obviously what you're interested in is the ways to use essential oils. Now I'm sure people on here have used the oils. Essential oils have been around for centuries really, but you know, they're very, very powerful and in the shops and everywhere these days. But the Modere ones, I love them because it's the quality of them. From what I know, I wouldn't go venturing off and into other essential oil companies for myself because I know the possibilities. So the Modere ones are amazing. They enter the body in various ways. Obviously, you know, massage is an obvious one, whether you massage your own feet, partner massage, whatever. If you are someone that likes to go for a massage, I'd really encourage you to take your own oils. I know that might sound a bit over the top, but sometimes it's what we don't know, And in my time and experience, I have come across places where I would have thought they would be using good ones, but not necessarily so. Inhalation is another very good way. Either steam or in a diffuser. There's a couple of little points here I want to mention. Like if you put your head over a towel over your head and hold it over water with them in, and we know how it clears nasal passages. But just for a word of warning, if anyone might be asthmatic, that is not a very good way to go at all. So, you know, be mindful. While we're just talking about the oils, I just want to mention also something about be careful not to prescribe. Because of the power of essential oils, you know, if you're not sure what you're using, what you have in your hands, just give you a little story. When I was practicing in the UK, I would my clients that I would give them specific instructions and I would repeat it and repeat it so that it was really clear, because I didn't want them going off and doing it. But they still would go off and do it. They would buy something from somewhere else and they would take them internally. Now, that could cause huge, huge problems. So I really wouldn't get into prescribing unless you know exactly what you're doing. Because at that time, my insurance, because of working with oils, was £1 million for insurance I had to have. So, you know, I'm sure you probably wouldn't do that, but it is always a concern that I do have when people start prescribing, and you need to do this and so many drops of this and this is what you do, and if they don't know. So I hope you don't mind me mentioning that, but it's very, very, very important. So you can use, put them in the bath or foot spa, as I said. If you're putting them into water, get the water ready and then put the drops that you use into a teaspoon of milk and then put that in. That's the best way around it, because one of the challenges, if you get the foot spa ready or the bath ready and you put the oils in and they're floating on the top, you've got a lot of concentrated oil in one area on the surface of the skin, so it's best if it's dispersed. Obviously, compress is a very good way, and the most obvious way is adding them to the Modere products already in use. Now, I haven't got a slide with this, but I just thought what is, you know, typical ones would be the deodorant. The deodorant is a 50 ml size, so I would be putting 15 drops just onto the ball of whichever one you want, and I often think the de-stress is very good for that, because it's going to be in there for the full use of the deodorant, and so it's always good to have some de-stress around. So that's a really good one. Hydrating activator mist that we have is 115 ml. You could even put it in there as well, and that will get onto the skin. Men can use that as an aftershave. There's some really nice ones. And about 150 ml, I'd be using about 30 drops. So add it to it and shake it up, and then just use it like that. You can put the oils, obviously, into shampoo and conditioner. They do have fragrances. but you can always add something else to it if you want to do that. I've just got some quantities here. Just gives you an idea. Essential oils as a perfume is a very good way to avoid the synthetics, because we all know in the perfume industry a lot of synthetics are used, and synthetics have side effects. So, you know, this gives you a bit of an idea of quantities. The hand and body lotion is another really good way to use the oils, put them into there. And if you want to have a change, it's good to, instead of putting it into the full size hand and body lotion, if you put it into, get a small pot, a container, put a small amount in there, and then you can switch between which blends you're using. So that's always nice to have that option. So anywhere in the bathrooms you can use them. Obviously, anything in the kitchen, you can use it for floors, put them into, you know, the washing machine. With some of the products we have now do have some aromas to them, like the balancing cream. The balancing cream is beautiful. It's got ylang ylang, Roman chamomile, lavender, and geranium in there. So they're all very good ones which have essential oils in them already. But, you know, it's nice to have preference, isn't it, and like your own. So I'm going to jump on. Each essential oil is individual, and they all have their own blueprint, just as we as humans have fingerprints. They all also have their own healing characteristics, and for this very reason the Latin name is used. You'll notice that on the Modair products it has the Latin name, because there are many varieties within the plant species. So by using the Latin name, it can be used, the correct one exactly can be used. Now, it's something that I was trained in, and not many. It is more become more aware now of the notes. We call them notes. We have top notes, middle notes, and base notes, and these are it's a way. Oh, I think I've got a bit more detail on the next slide. Sorry, let me just go on to that. Yeah, a top note is fast acting. It's the quickest to evaporate, and it's most stimulating and uplifting to mind, body, and it's invigorating. Because all the oils are split into these top, middle, and base notes, you can see why there are such a variance in all the oils. The middle notes are moderately volatile. Primarily, they affect the functions of body, like the digestive system, the menstruation, and the general metabolism of the body. These notes are balancing and stabilizing. So you can see there's a lot to essential oils. And of course, base notes, these are the real deep, earthy ones. They are slower to evaporate. If they're mixed with a top, it can hold back the volatility of that oil. Now, you don't need to worry about that because we have the blends, and that is also taken into account. But I just thought, just to give you a little bit more in depth of the power of essential oils, what they are. These ones are sedative, relaxing, and when anyone is mixing them, they will often mix a base note in with the other oils, because it will hold back volatility. So it means that the top note will hold back longer because you've got the base in. I don't want to get too complicated. I hope I'm not losing you here. The ones we have with Modair, one of them is travel, and it works beautifully. So in there we've got ginger, peppermint, orange, rosewood, lavender, lemon, and rosemary. Now I'm just going to jump on across because we're sort of moving time, and the next one is breathe. Pine needle, eucalyptus, tea tree, and thyme. We have in focus bergamot, orange, lemon, sandalwood, helichrysum, and I know a lot of people have favourites, and there's different times you would use different ones. Sleep is a beautiful one as well. Lavender, petitgrain, Roman chamomile, and valerian. Now the reason that I'm going quickly, because I want to show you that they do so much more than what the title might suggest. These first: rosewood, bergamot, patchouli, frankincense, and geranium. Now this is where I want to go a little bit more into it. You can see each of these combinations we have got varying essential oils in there. There's not just one or two. I just want to go through de-stress with what is in there, and it's too complicated to go into all the other ones, so I'm just taking this blend. If we look at rosewood that's in there, you can see it helps with the skin. Acne, dermatitis, scars, wounds, wrinkles, general dry skin, sensitive dry, combination oily dry. Very useful for any skincare. Excuse me. The immune system, it helps there with colds, coughs, fever, infections. It stimulates the immune system altogether, and the nervous system, frigidity, headaches, nausea, nervous tension, and stress-related conditions. So you can see why that is in there, obviously. If we look at the bergamot, skincare, it's got numerous areas that it helps with there: psoriasis, ulcers, wounds. With the digestive system, a colic, indigestion, flatulence. From the head point of view, sore throat, bad breath, tonsillitis. You can see the nervous system, anxiety, depression, excretory, circulation, muscles and joints. Patchouli. This again helps with the skin. You probably see that there's repetition coming up here. Like right at the very beginning, I showed the slide with all the benefits that they have. You can see why there's so many oils and why they can be why they can be adaptogenic. You know, why they can just go to one area. As I mentioned, they're intelligent. They can go to an area. So you can see by using one particular blend, you can help not just with the stress, but with so many other areas of the body. You know, the functions of all the systems. Frankincense is another beautiful one. That's amazing for the skin, as you can imagine, because it was used centuries ago. And geranium, which is another one in there. So you can see that this is just one of the groups that I've taken and broken down into each oil. Now, if you can imagine the other blends that we have, they've pretty much got the same sort of structure. They will help with nervous systems, and obviously not all the same, otherwise, you know, there's always some variance. But, you know, if you have got an issue or a challenge, like I mentioned earlier, and you want to just use something, don't worry about whatever it is, you know, because it will help and go to that area. And I find and have found over the time that the best way is listen to your body. Your body will let you know. If you take the top off, and if you want to have a smell of essential oils, the best way is to take the top off and inhale from the top, not the bottle, from the top. And you'll notice the better way of getting it is not just to not breathe normally. If you take a real deep sniff, that's where it gets the aroma right up into the olfactory, so you can get a better smell of the aroma. And if it's something that really appeals to you, I wouldn't, no pun intended, I wouldn't get too stressed whether it's the right one or not. But, you know, if you happen to be using, if you've got something else and you haven't got anything to hand and you want to use sleep or you want to use in focus, then, you know, use those, because listen to your body. If you feel right and the fragrance smells good to you, then use it, because that is your body letting you know. Because we're all different, we're all individuals. So what works for someone may not necessarily work for the other. But at this point, I just want to mention that animals and pets respond really well to essential oils. Children, obviously, it's really good for them. With children and smaller animals, just remember to reduce the quantities on the slide that I had earlier. So, you know, dilute them depending. So if you say, for example, if you've got a horse, you want to treat that, you wouldn't really worry about diluting it as if you had a small cat or a puppy or something. So, it's just being sort of, mindful and using some common sense. And of course, with children, it's always good to reduce the quantities because their body is much smaller and has to cope with everything the same. So I think I'm running out of time, but it's just I hope you got something from this, but really to enjoy them. One thing I do want to mention, candles. I'm not a lover of using candles to heat oils because what happens when you use a candle, there's too much heat goes into it, and when essential oils are heated, it changes the molecular structure. If the molecular structure is changed, you will still be able to smell it. You wouldn't notice a difference from that perspective, but you wouldn't get the same therapeutic benefit. But if you're going to use the oils, you might as well get the therapeutic benefit, I always say. So, find other ways. Modere has something. The best way is for something which pulsates, tiny particles into the atmosphere. If all else fails, put it onto a tissue and inhale it the good old traditional way. You know how things were years ago. So that's always one way. But just be mindful. I often see all these lovely candles and they're all lit, and nice soft music and they've got the oils going, and I think, well, it'd be really nice if the therapeutic benefit was there as well. So it depends what you're after. I think you can treat many conditions with essential oils. I know in my clinics, just too numerous to go over the benefits that people reaped, and what you're not supposed to say cured, but I know they did because people will come to me when they didn't go anywhere else and nothing worked. So a bit like Modere, people come when they want a natural way or they've tried other avenues and nothing much has worked. They're very powerful. They are beautiful alternative to some medicine, but while I'm saying that, they're not a complete substitute for the basics that our body needs, like minerals and vitamins, all those sort of things. What we have in Modere with the nutritional supplements is very powerful. So can you imagine if you bring in using essential oils along with that, the body has got so much there that it can take advantage of. One of the things in my training, I just mentioned this, was because I spent a day in a hospital in the UK. I was actually in Sheffield with someone, Alan Barker, and he was a aromatherapist, rheumatologist, and he was working with essential oils in the hospital. And this was back in 1994, so this hospital was very forward in its thinking. When he first went in there, all the doctors thought it was all a lot of nonsense, poo-pooed it, rubbish. So what he did was to apply essential oils to people on their skin, and under the arm and under the feet to start with. Then he got blood tests done, and by applying essential oils on the soles of the feet, within 30 minutes there was traces of the oils in the system. Under the armpits, there was traces of essential oils in the body after 10 minutes. And when the doctors saw these results, they really just had to agree that, yes, they were going into the body and working. And it was just such a great time to experience, because people at that time could go to the hospital with conditions and they had the choice of going to see him and being treated with essential oils or going down the normal medical way. So that was a wonderful experience, and I'm not sure what's happening there now, but at that time they did lots of tests and found that they really had lots to offer. And let's face it, a lot of medicine we have is stemmed from plants, but it's taken the laboratories and man-made produced, and we get side effects. So what we have with Modere is just beautiful. Use them in conjunction with the nutritional supplements we have, and just simply enjoy, the use and the aromas, and take the time to relax and then really enjoy it. but the In Focus one is great if you're working as well. So I hope that's been of some help. I hope somebody's got a little bit of something out of that. So really, it's just enjoy the aroma. And I'll hand you back over to Annie.
Thank you, Rita. That's absolutely fantastic. Look, Rita, I don't know, are you open to any questions that someone may have if we open some questions up?
Yes, yes.
Someone with your incredible depth of experience, we don't actually get on very often. So I just wonder if anyone's got any questions of Rita about aromatherapy or the blends, particularly the blends, and you know, how to actually use them, because Rita's very familiar with the actual ingredients as well as the therapeutic benefits. I just wondering if you can put your hand up, or if you've got an experience that you'd like to share. I know Charlie uses the aromatherapy blends here all the time. Like, they're constant in our house. And it's just wonderful, you know, the In Focus and the de-stress, and you know, it's just a very, very powerful aroma that goes through our house all the time. We also use it in our washing of the floor. We just put a little bit in the washing on the floor. So I just see in the hot water, I should say. Rebecca Smith, I'll just take Becca. Becca, you there, please? Take yourself off. Mute.
Can you hear me okay, Annie?
Yes, we got you tonight, yes.
Fantastic. I just testimonials for the, I guess, the quality of the oils, but we use them definitely in the car for travel sickness, works amazingly well. Great tip from Rita about sniffing the lid. We normally sniff the bottle, so I'll have to change that. Definitely on the pillows and PJs for snoring or blocked noses are great. I've used the Focus for the kids when they're doing NAPLAN testing at our local school, and I put the Focus also just a couple of drops in washing. I like to have the de-stress, like Rita said, in the deodorant, and I use that as a perfume as well. Yeah. People can comment about that. And then we use it in the oil warmer as well, and then soles of the feet for various things. And definitely when the kids are a bit overtired and they're a bit emotional, and plus myself, we use that de-stress. So they're a staple in our household as our first aid. They're fantastic, and just that quality of the way that they extract the oils. I was blown away by what my dad does. Oh yeah, amazing. Thank you. Rita, fantastic.
Thanks, Beck. I'll just put you back on mute. That's awesome. And I know I'll take Susie Williams. I'll just take Susie Williams. If you're, yes, there you go, Susie. You can now talk.
Thank you, Annie. Yeah, I just wanted to know, I've just been suffering from...
Oils in there is rosewood, which is excellent for the skin as well. So that would help. And because it stimulates the immune system, it's going to help your immune system to recover as well. So that would be a good one to use. Yes, I certainly would be. You know, did you make a note of the quantities of mixing? Do you want
yes, I did.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that would be a very good one, yes, because you've got rosewood in there, which is excellent. You see, a lot of things like that are aggravated by stress as well. If you have any stress, anxiety, and anything like that can cause extra stress and anxiety. It gets into a vicious cycle because you know, any itching and anything going on like that, the condition itself can be stressful. So that would be a really good one. And of course, it's got frankincense in there, which is excellent as well for the skin. Yeah, that would be a good one.
Oh, thank you very much, Rita. Yeah, I use the de-stress. I always put it on my collar quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, mixing it in with the hand and body lotion will be good. Yeah.
Yep. Excellent. Thank you very much, Rita.
Thanks, Sue. Good luck with your legs. Great question. So let's go down to Tony McGee. I'll just take Tony McGee off. If you're there, Tony, please.
Hi, thanks, Annie. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get on. I caught just the end there, but I've got a question for Tiana. She doesn't have a microphone or a computer. She uses a diffuser at home, and she wants to know if using the oils in the diffuser, does it need to be put into the milk before being put into the water of the diffuser?
No, putting the oil into the milk and then into the water is if you're going to be putting it directly onto skin. So if you were to have a bath, you would, and the milk helps the oils to disperse properly throughout the water. And if it's a foot bath, but just in a diffuser, no, you don't need that. That's fine. That's okay.
Cool. Sweet. Thanks for that.
Okay.
Okay, so thanks, Tony. I just will go up to see if anyone else has their hand up. Just bear with me, please. Karen Walker. Karen, have you got your hand up? Hello, Karen.
No, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. No, I was actually all good. Thank you anyway, Annie.
Thank you. No worries. And I thought I saw Dora asking a question. I didn't get to read it, so I don't know if Dora, there's a question there. Just bear with me and I'll read what. Can Rita share a little bit on each blend, please? In which way, Dora? I'll just take Dora off and see. Hi, Dora, what were you looking for from each blend?
Just some tips on some of the benefits with the blends. That would be great if possible.
Yeah. Well, I didn't go into that, obviously, there's time constraint. But obviously things like, because of all the individual oils that are in them, and I haven't gone through each one like I did with the stress, they like Breathe, for example, it's very, very good because it helps with, helps to open up passageways so you can breathe easier. The pine needle in there, obviously, and the eucalyptus, the oils they've got in there, pine needle, eucalyptus, tea tree, and thyme, are very much for, they're all the pine smells. They're the ones that open up the passageways. Once you've got that open, you're able to breathe. It makes it more, it relaxes you. And so there again, a lot of things get into a vicious cycle because stress can cause a big problem, and that can aggravate whatever condition that you're, trying to treat. The In-Focus, the oranges and lemons are very, they're all the same if you think about them. The bergamot is very similar to orange. Lemon, sandalwood, and helichrysum, and they're all very similar. They're uplifting, they're refreshing. So they work because they go through. If you're going through the olfactory with them, they're stimulating, they're refreshing. It's like if you inhale In-Focus, you automatically feel uplifted and it wakes you up, as opposed to some of the heady ones, like in sleep. You've got the more middle notes and bass notes because they are heavier. They have a different effect on the body. As I mentioned on the notes section, they're more calming, they're soothing, they hang around longer. So really, they just do what the oils say. That's a typical thing of Mode Air, isn't it? They do what it says. They help you sleep. They're relaxing. In-Focus, they bring your attention. You feel alert. The breathing helps you with the passages. We had a good tip with travel because ginger is excellent, which is in there to help settle the stomach if any nausea is coming up. So is lemon, rosewood. They just basically do what it says, because of the oils, the selection of oils they've got in there. I didn't go into them like I did with the sleep because they're all very similar and it would take too much time. So I don't know whether that has helped you, Dora, whether you were looking more specific than that.
No, that was great, Rita. Spot on. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Are you there, Annie?
Yeah, sorry, I muted myself. So thanks, Dora. Yeah, thank you, Dora. And you know what I love is the way that they actually tell you what they do. Breathe, you know, de-stress, in focus. You know, it's all about, well, focus, what you need to be doing. So, you know, we've actually really made it so consumer or customer friendly now. It's absolutely been fantastic. So just want to say a big thank you to everyone for joining us on the call tonight, and also for Rita. Thank you very much, Rita. You know, your wealth of knowledge is absolutely fantastic. This call has been recorded, so it has a great opportunity to be shared with other people who want to know more about our sensational, high-quality, high-performing Modere aromatherapy oils. Now, next week at 8 o'clock, our special topic is oral chelation. We are going to be talking about how to assist the heart, how to actually really make a huge difference to every single person on this planet by taking care of their heart through a process called oral chelation. It's basically called heart health. So it's a very powerful call. Same time next week at 8 o'clock. And if you know anybody who has heart disease in their family, who is not sure whether they've got a healthy heart or not, then they should be on this call. I can't tell you how valuable this call will be. Social marketer Shane Riley, who's had personal experience with her own heart and her husband's heart, or sorry, not her husband's, her brother's and her father's heart, all suffering from, well, they've all got heart disease in their family. She's telling a personal story, but more importantly, going to teach us how to take care of our heart by following a simple process. So that's next Tuesday night, the 31st of May at 8 p.m. But tomorrow night is another special call at 8 p.m. If you have someone that you'd like to introduce to Modere, if you want to show someone Modere, you want to explain to someone what our Live Clean movement is all about and what we are all about as a group of health conscious people really wanting to make a massive difference on the planet from an environmental point of view, but also from a health conscious point of view, then please bring them on tomorrow night's webinar call with elite social marketer Tony Frame as she shares why Modere is the place to be as we head quickly into the future years. Health is number one, and the age of the entrepreneur is absolutely here. And so here's a chance for you to actually create a little bit of your own empire, if you like, of Modere. You can actually build a wealth program around it. So we're going to have a fabulous night tomorrow night, and then an equally fabulous week next week with some fabulous health information. So once again, a big thank you to Rita Sweet for sharing about it, and I'm about to go and find where Charlie stashed our oils because I think it's been very powerful to actually be using these oils every day. I know I don't, and I'm naughty, but I know Charlie does. So he's got them in every car. We've got 3 cars in this family, and I know there's oils in every side pocket. So funny about that.
So, Charlie.
Yeah, good on
Thank you,
Charlie. Go and pick up Millie. So thank you, guys. Thank you very much, and we'll be on the same time next week for heart health, the oral chelation process. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Thank you. Good night, honey.